So the NFL draft was the past couple of days, and it was a pretty interesting draft. For the Raiders, no first round pick, no second round pick either, and so they were definitely capitalizing on these later pick guys, and it makes sense. I mean, the Raiders, obviously had to trade a lot to get Devontae Adams, and they had to trade picks, and so I kind of like the scheme they're going with. I mean, I don't think this year's draft either was by any means better than past drafts, to put it that way. So I think the Raiders, were resourceful, and they didn't pick until the 90th overall pick. The Raiders had the 86th pick, and then they traded with the Titans. And with the 90th overall pick, they drafted Dylan Parham, and he's an offensive lineman from Memphis. It's hard to grade an offensive lineman based on, the statistics are very minimal, but I think it's a pretty good pick. I mean, when you have Derek Carr, last year, his offensive line degraded after having a very good offensive line in prior years. I think that was an important addition. So I think that was pretty good. But it was a pretty good trade. They traded the pick 86 for picks 90 and 169. So they basically got an additional pick in exchange for a pick that, was 4 picks later. So pretty good. He made 28 starts at left guard, 12 at right guard. And 11 at right tackle, but he also could play center. So he's very much an offensive lineman at heart. He could play any of the offensive line positions, basically. I think this is a good pick for the Raiders. Of course, they gave up the 22nd overall and the 53rd overall for Devontae Adams, so this was a later pick. Next, in the 4th round with the 122nd overall pick, the Raiders drafted running back Zamira White. Now, I expected the Raiders to draft a running back. It doesn't seem like the Raiders are interested in keeping Josh Jacobs long-term. Obviously, they didn't exercise his 5th-year option. And so they picked Zamira White from Georgia. He, only started 23 games for Georgia over the last 3 years, but he rushed over 2,000 yards. And so I think this is a good pick. I think this guy probably could have been picked earlier. And so for the fact that the Raiders got him in this later round, in the 4th round, pretty good. And so, yeah, I think, White could be their starter for, maybe not next year, but the year after that. We'll see how he does. Running backs don't typically go super early, just, based on history. And so it's still a pretty good pick. He didn't play that much in college. I guess that's the only concern, but, he is, being added to that running back room that is constantly growing larger for the Raiders. And I think now it's like, if we don't go with Jacobs, or if Jacobs is hurt, who are we going with? And I think Zamira White is going to be considered. Next, the Raiders' next pick was also in round 4, and they picked defensive tackle Neil Farrell. And I didn't know much about Neil Farrell. He did go to LSU. Pretty good player, I've heard, for his value. And he was the 126th pick, so just 4 picks after Zamira White. He's pretty solid, I think. He had a pretty impressive career at LSU. And he's played a lot of college ball. He's been in, college football for a while. He played an extra year when he could have, been in the NFL. He did really good in the Senior Bowl. He's a big guy. The Raiders defense, I feel like, is constantly getting better. So to add a guy like Neil Farrell, I think it's a good pick. Next, after Neil Farrell, the Raiders had a pick in the 5th round. The 175th overall pick was Matthew Butler, also a defensive tackle. So that's back-to-back picks for defensive tackle for the Raiders. So, yeah, not a bad pick. He went to Tennessee, and pick 175. I think, he was a very aggressive defensive tackle. He was a bigger guy, and I think this is good value. I think this guy was expected to be picked earlier, and the fact that they got him in, the 3rd to last round, pretty good. He's also stays healthy. He did not miss a game over the last 3 seasons, and he showed availability. He's pretty good. I think Neil Farrell, and Butler are both going to play really good. When they're given the opportunity, I have high hopes for them. And so, yeah, those are the 2 back-to-back defensive tackles. Now, next, the Raiders got in the 7th round. They had 2 7th-round picks. With pick 238, they got Thayer Munford, who's also an offensive lineman. So that's 2 offensive linemen picked in this draft. He was picked in the later round. I don't know much about him. He's a 7th-round pick, so he probably won't get much time. But I think really it's about depth, right? Offensive linemen are constantly getting injured. So I think the Raiders need that. So I think Thayer Munford is good for his value. And then finally, round 7, pick 250, the Raiders got out of UCLA running back Britton Brown, another running back. I mean, like I said, the Raiders running back room is large, and I think they're just experimenting. I think, this is very low risk. He, might not even make the team. He's a 7th round pick from UCLA. And he originally attended Duke for 3 seasons, transferred to UCLA, 400 career carries, 2,284 yards. I mean, that's, about 6 yards a carry, not super bad. So I think really with the Raiders, they're seeing, this running back situation as in window of opportunity. Josh Jacobs probably won't be here long term. And so we're trying to find the next guy. And I think drafting as many running backs as possible, which was 2 this year, I think is smart. I mean, I think the Raiders, they want to try guys out maybe in the preseason. So, yeah, that's actually it. The Raiders had 6 picks this year, and more so in the later rounds because of trades, but still pretty good picks. So let me know your guys' thoughts. I'll see you guys later. And yeah, go Raiders.